Hello, my friends, and welcome to this Monday night, April 13th edition of the Indoctrination. I am David Snedeker, and I haven't done a couple things I haven't done much lately. One thing is that I haven't done a lot of checking our codes because I know so many of you are already doing that. And the other thing I haven't done much of are my monologues, where I would, start each show kind of going on a bit of a rant based on the events that are transpiring. And so I'm going to do a little bit of both tonight. And then I'm going to get into some major events and major comms that we're seeing. Prayers up to Moonbeam and her neighboring area, who are having some major storms tonight, tornado watch. So prayers up for her and those in Missouri that are facing this. So Pete's in the shed tonight. Thank you, Quasi Pete, for holding down the fort, and welcome one and all, folks. Let's imagine we're coming in out of the cold. For anybody that has lived in the Northeast, knows that when you go out for the evening and you wear a heavy coat, you go to a place and they have a coat check, so you don't have to lug this huge parka around all night. And so imagine coming in out of the bitter cold and you're all bundled up, and just imagine all your preconceived notions, your unconscious bias, your ego, and all of your indoctrination wrapped up in that coat. And all I'm going to ask you to do is just take off that coat, check it at the coat check. It's safe there. You're just going to leave it for a couple hours. You're not going to have to make any major decisions. You're not in a literal storm or a figurative storm that you're going to need some of those things that maybe are necessary. So, and just grab a snack, grab your favorite drink, grab your favorite person, your favorite pet, your favorite you, and come on in. Let's download some information. So, I was at an event tonight that was primarily full of Democrats, and it was excuse me, an artistic event, which I find artistic people and people in theater and people in these types of events are often Democrat. And these are all people that I, know, love, interact with daily. And but there's kind of just a general frustration about the world events that are happening. Like, oh, it's crazy what's going on. Anybody else, feel the craziness that's going on, and there's a general response like this, but the solution is to vote Democrat. Wow. The only reason, and these are intelligent people, the only reason that anybody is still leaning Democrat is because of the Mockingbird CIA media and people's simple lack of understanding that the ABC, NBC, CNN, all of this are not their friend, are not giving them real news, and are picking out the stories to fit the narrative. Excuse me. And we were talking about a Democrat race, and there is a and I was speaking to a friend, and she said, "Oh, you ought to check out Tellerico," but she's been to my live show. She knows what I do, but she forgot simply because when I show up, I don't show up as the indoctrination David Snedeker. I show up as Coach Dave. I show up as Daddy Dave. I show up as Dave. Hey, how's it going? Because I don't get into these things, these discussions with a lot of people. I have you for that. Thank you. This was my situation in California, and where I constantly had to censor myself around the groups that I would be in. And I wanted to get away from that. And I have come to a place where I censor myself far fewer times and far less, but I'm respectful to the situation that I'm in. And quite honestly, I don't want to spend time trying to convince people because we're not in the same realm when it comes to our view of the world. And this is through no fault of theirs other than not understanding that the indoctrination exists, and it is very deep, it is very manipulative, and it is very dark. But it's put up on a pedestal and painted and flowered, and it looks really good. And this is the draw of the compassion, because the people that I was in this room with this evening are extremely compassionate people. But the deep state appeals to that compassion, and that is how they grab those with compassion for their cause. And they also prop up these marches and so forth with money to make it look like there's a lot of people that feel the way they do. But what's happening is those people are becoming fewer and fewer and fewer. And my friend, I love her. I think she's absolutely fabulous. Love her daughter, her husband, their family's fantastic. And she said, what do you think about the midterms? And I said, I don't think the Democrats are going to make it to the midterms. And she said, what do you mean? And I said, well, they're being exposed. Just today, Tulsi Gabbard came out with proof that Barack Obama tried to take out President Trump from office. This is a very, very serious thing. And I said, they're going to indict Brennan. They're going to indict Hillary Clinton for making all this stuff up. And I don't think they're going to make it to the midterms. And now you and I are certainly hoping that's exactly what happens. But we're also quite aware that this is not on our timeline. But I also mentioned, the stolen election, and that the reason that Democrats try to import so many illegal immigrants is because they're losing the black vote. They're losing the Hispanic vote. I may not have mentioned that, but they're also losing the female vote. And they're losing more and more every single day. And so it was kind of like she listens and she was looking very intently, but I said to her, I said, now listen, you know me, I'm a conspiracy guy. She said, yeah, oh yes, yes. And I said, but I've been talking about this stuff for years that are finally coming out. And the reason I've been a conspiracy guy is because I had nothing supporting what I was saying 10 years ago, 9 years ago, 8 years ago, 7 years ago, 6 years ago, 5 years ago. Nothing in any kind of mass exposure was supporting the things that I was doing, except for people like Alex Jones, who I've told the story. He went on that show with Pierce Morgan, and Pierce Morgan was talking about gun control, and Alex said, "You come for our guns, and it's going to be 1776 again. We're going to do it." Blah, 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 blah. And he lost his mind. And my friend Kelly Carlin, George Carlin's daughter, said to me that this is your leader. This is the guy that you're trying to get everybody to listen to. Controlled opposition right there, in perfect, analogy. Exactly what happened and exactly what is happening now with Alex Jones. Because he kept drawing people, folks, when I've got, 1,700 people on X listening to us live, he's got 300, 400, 500,000. We still got a long way to go. A long way to go. And, but we're living in two very different worlds. And I know you know this. So check this out.
Tulsi Gabbard is doing a great job. Where's Tulsi? She took a lot of heat 2 days ago because she went in at Pam's insistence. She went in and she looked at votes that want to be checked out from Georgia. They say, why is she doing it? Right, Pam? Why is she doing it? Because Pam wanted her to do it. And you know why? Because she's smart. And they said, well, this has to do, her position has to do, it's really not so, but her position has to do with international. They say, well, the same people that said that, they've been saying Russia has been screwing our elections, okay? So let's assume Russia had something to do with it. They say, no, Russia didn't have. So now they're saying Russia had nothing to do with it. Because if I say Russia, that it's perfectly fine. But you could add China and about 5 other countries to it. But she's done a great job, and Pam has done a fantastic job, and we appreciate it both. I haven't seen you in a couple of days. And I have one of the...
Yes. So so I want to also take you to this post by Tulsi Gabbard. Newly declassified records expose how, this is her speaking. This isn't David Snedeker, some conspiracy theorist. This is the department and the director of national intelligence. And how deep state actors, she's using the term deep state. This isn't conspiracy dialogue anymore. How deep state actors, by the way, we're watching a movie, central casting, okay, within the intelligence community. And here's why I'm picking out actors. Because yes, Edward, it is poured on very thick. And Teresa, yes, might not be any midterms with all the election fraud. That's exactly what I think. Because the Republicans have to understand that if we don't have justice, if we don't have real investigations into the stolen 2020 election, that's why I went to DC. By the way, I didn't go to DC because of what do you call it? I was just talking about him, freaking Bill Hicks. Alex Jones. Okay. I didn't go there because of him. I went there because President Trump asked me to come. Right? He asked us to come. And I felt compelled. And I got the help of all of you to get there. And I am so glad I went, even though I was looking over my shoulder for the next several years, because people that didn't even go to J6 were being arrested, were being, raided by the FBI. People that didn't go in the building, like me, were still being raided by the FBI. To this day, I still don't know why I wasn't. I believe that I have been divinely guided and watched over for many, my whole life. Not even, folks, I can't even tell you the number of events and things that I've been involved in, and I'm just thankful to God for getting me out in one piece and safely, and still alive and still chugging along. But that was important for me to be there, because we were trying to save America. And we knew that the election was stolen from us. And that day is now historic. And it's not even the level of historic that it's going to be, simply because even though President Trump granted the J6ers a pardon, there still hasn't been justice for their mistreatment, our mistreatment on that day, our mistreatment by the world since that day, by the mainstream media, making us out to be terrorists, when it was one of the most joyful events I've ever been to, until I got up to the Capitol and there were a couple handfuls of people that were trying to break into the Capitol, like they were going to do something. So I say actors because these deep state actors, they were at the inauguration of Joe Biden. And if they were at the inauguration of Joe Biden, 4 out of the, 6 out of the 9 Supreme Court justices were there. Pelosi was there. Mitch McConnell was there. Adam Schiff was there. The Obamas were there. What do you call it? Gaga was there. I mean, but it wasn't on the day of the inauguration. So that means that they have already been dealt with. And they were acting in a role that was shot and edited days before the actual January 20th inauguration. People have torn that apart. I'm the only one that has shown one frame of video that proves that it was not shot live. Tulsi Gabbard, newly declassified records expose how deep state actors within the intelligence community concocted a false narrative that Congress used to usurp the will of the American people and impeach duly elected President Donald Trump in 2019. Deep state actors. Now, The biggest part of this, now I've dug into these, I've read these, the press releases, okay, the documents on this, and here's basically what she has found out and what is the smoking gun. That the IG whistleblower, okay, that appeared before Michael Atkinson, that they weren't a firsthand account. It was, and they've since come out and apologized. And Michael Atkinson pushed this forward to Congress, Adam Schiff, Pelosi, and then to the press, that this was a legitimate investigation, and he had no firsthand witnesses to this impeachable event, which was President Trump's phone conversation with Zelensky. Okay. There were only 4 interviews. The whistleblower's friend, who was the co-author of the Russia hoax intelligence community assessment and close colleague of disgraced agent Peter Strzok, and 2 character references who had 0 firsthand knowledge of the phone call. And despite a lack of any of this firsthand evidence, Atkinson pushed it forward and ignored the DOJ guidance and relied on secondhand testimony. Okay. And then House Permanent Select Committee at Schiff and also Speaker Pelosi used this false secondhand narrative to create media intrigue and ultimately spark the basis to impeach President Trump in December of 2019. This repeats her quote in her post, her tweet. And Inspector General Atkinson failed to uphold his responsibility to the American people, putting political motivations over the truth. This is Gabbard. And this, along with the politicization of the whistleblower process by former CIA employee who is working hand in glove with the Democrats in Congress, are egregious examples of the deep state playbook on how to weaponize the intelligence community. Exposing these tactics and showing how they undermine the fabric of our democratic republic furthers the critical cause of transparency and accountability and will help prevent future abuse of power. So these are these documents, investigative materials that he used. Okay. It's all a scam. Oh, current federal employee. Okay. Office of DNI and Central Intelligence. And these documents, again, this isn't Dave Snedeker, Mr. Conspiracy, saying this. This is the Director of National Intelligence that the Democrats are claiming that this is lawfare. Wait a minute. How can it be lawfare if it's exposing lawfare? Now lawfare is exposing the lawfare that came from the administration that came before President Trump, Barack Obama, and the Democrats. This is why they're not going to make it to the midterms. They cannot make it to the midterms because we have to have justice. And justice is just around the corner because the evidence is here. And all one has to do is look at the sheer amount of people that are on X, that are on Facebook, that are on Instagram, that are on TikTok, that are wide the fuck awake and will pour through these documents, as I have, and show the illegality in these legal actions. This is hearsay. How many times have we seen a trial in a movie or a show, and they're asking somebody's opinion on something, and it's not admissible? This person told you something, that is called hearsay. It is not admissible in a court of law. These people aren't going to make it to the midterms. And I'll tell you something else. See, and I've shared this with you before, that when Donald Trump came down the escalator, it was on the heels of, the guy who ran for mayor of New York and threw a bunch of money at it, won, Bloomberg. And I thought, here's another billionaire that's going to throw a bunch of money at this thing. But then I started seeing who was against him. All of my so-called enemies that I had determined were not working for you and I at the federal, state level. All the actors that I knew had sold their soul to the devil, all the musicians that I know had sold their soul to the devil, not because of what Conspiracy Dave says, but because of what they've said in their own voices that sing so beautifully, that, read scripts and emote emotion so beautifully. They have said it. They have done the one eye photo opportunity. They have done the all-seeing eye, the triangle. They have done the Masonic symbolism, the Illuminati symbolism. They have exposed themselves. Q said, symbolism will be their downfall. We went forward with support of President Trump, and then we started seeing all the things that he was doing, returning the death penalty to federal treason convictions. 13818, taking the assets of anybody involved in crimes against humanity. 13848, the violation of our election by foreign entities will be dealt with severely. These executive orders. Then we saw the fake inauguration after the election was stolen. And we've seen some other things that have been propped up or questionable since then. My friends, this is the Great Awakening, and the people that are orchestrating this entire thing, the white hats, as we so lovingly title them, and they have titled themselves, are exposing everything with little drips, floods, drip, flood at a time, watch the water so that the human population can awaken from their slumber without going straight into a mental hospital. Because Q has also said, if humans knew it all, 99% would be in the hospital. That's how bad it is. That's how absolutely evil it is. And the people that are not aware of this, that are not seeking information outside of the mainstream, but also falling into the hands of the CIA operatives that are in the alternative media, they themselves are going to have a major problem as well making this transition. But the one thing that I knew about Donald Trump before he became president, when I started supporting him, was that he puts his name on everything. Trump Casino, Trump Taj Mahal, Trump Tower, Trump Doral Golf Course. Mar-a-Lago doesn't have his name on it, but he's all over that. It's his place, it's his home. And Trump Cola, the beauty pageants, the Miss USA beauty pageants. He's front and center. The Apprentice, starring Donald Trump, the biggest show in America. Okay. He puts his name on everything because he has a tremendous ego. He's got a powerful name that lends its name to that type of thing, because he's created a brand that's very valuable, and that he's not going to allow that name to be tarnished. And what's important to understand is that there are enough awake human beings that if this is just another great Republican president, without true justice for these deep state actors that have lied to us, have manipulated us, have indoctrinated us, have poisoned us, our water, our food, our air, if they are not brought to justice, the Trump name will be no better than Motel 6. That I can assure you. And that's why I know that he is going to carry through with this, because he's smart enough to know that. And Q was smart enough to bring him in, set the parameters of what was going to happen and when, and see this through. My friends, I am as cool as a cucumber because I know with every fiber of my being that we are going to see justice. Q has told us we are going to see justice. Everyone likes to quote, the only way forward is the military. We only saw that 3 times in the drops. Once was repeated, and then another time less at the forefront of drop 26. 20 times Q has said transparency, accountability, and justice are the only way forward. Knowing that you and I, have to create the transparency as best we can by putting it out there and sharing information, and hey, look at this, Tulsi did this, and look at this, and sharing that information and flooding the people that we know with this information as best we can. The ones that are open to it, the ones that are available to get this download. That's the transparency. And then the accountability must follow. The accountability that we are addressing these people for their crimes, and then the justice. I am here to tell you that this will happen. We don't know when. We don't see, as much as we try to see the whole picture, we do not see or know the time and the place. But we have been told it will be biblical. So this is why I'm not concerned about the midterms, because the Democrat Party is dying. They're dying so much that, and the reason they're dying is because of the pause, because of the 4-year pause. How many Democrats that supported Biden, that voted Biden-Harris and had the bumper sticker, are now thinking, what the hell did we do? They let 20 million people into our country that are criminals, that are raping and murdering people and causing all kinds of problems and eating dogs and cats in Ohio, and you know, this Haitian immigrant that just murdered this woman with a hammer the other day. What a fucking coward. What a fucking lunatic. And these are the people that are in our country right now getting benefits that are now being exposed through, you know, what the Democrats did and why they did it, because they needed the votes, because they were losing all these votes. So it's important when we come out of a situation where we just shake our heads and say, why can't people see this? It's because the CIA Mockingbird media must be exposed, and the comms that we've been getting from President Trump over the past week have been all about the fake news CIA Mockingbird media. And it's being absolutely discredited. What was the number he gave us this week? 13%. 13%, right? Of the people believe that the mainstream media is legitimate and trustworthy. 13% of the human population, my friends, we have, without question, crossed the Rubicon. And it is not quite beautiful yet, because we haven't seen the accountability and the justice yet, but it will be. And it's all being exposed. And it's not just the Democrats. Okay. How about Adam Kinzinger? Adam Kinzinger, famous for the J6 committee, he and what's her name? The traitor, the vice president's daughter. Help me, folks. We're on the J6 committee. Disgraced former Rhino Congressman Adam Kinzinger has been accused of engaging in sex with dozens of male prostitutes and having a secret gay dating profile during his time as congressman in Washington, D.C. This is from Joshua Hall. At least 3 homosexual men who claim to have engaged in sexual activity with Kinzinger have come forward to reveal these allegations, stating that the sex acts were humiliating in nature and are now being used as blackmail material by the Democrats. They say that Krine Kinzinger's raging homosexuality and passion for gay prostitutes was the worst kept secret in Washington. It is small wonder that Adam was one of the Democrats' biggest assets on the J6 committee. His informal nickname among fellow committee members was Pelosi's Republican bitch boy. Good riddance, Adam. This is happening. Swalwell is happening. Pelosi can no longer insider trade. AOC is getting exposed. Ilhan Omar is going to be pulled out of Congress. All of these people are being exposed for who they really are. And it's unbelievable. We're also seeing Iran get exposed. The Turkish president, Erdogan, has come out and said he threatens military action against Israel. Just as we entered Libya and Karabakh, we can enter Israel. Okay. How many people are going to be on Israel's side and how many people are going to be on Turkey's side? That will remain to be seen. But this is huge, right? This is we're exposing the judges. This is a district attorney, Mary Moriarty, gave Somali rapist, I don't even want to say his name, plea deals for 2 rapes. 2 rapes. No prison time. Months later, he raped another woman. Disbar woke judges and send them to jail. And don't forget, folks, and you'll see it on my timeline on X, or go to snedheads.com and you can scroll my timeline there of the website that is going to start exposing these judges for who they really are. And that is going to be the absolute collapse of the judicial branch of our government. This is, yeah. I want to get to, let me see. I want to get to this. Now, I showed you the other night President Trump's Truth Social post. I've got to keep that where it's at. I've got a banger to show you here in a few minutes of a dive. Very simple dive, but man, it's a banger. I got a couple to show you, actually. And but President Trump. And before I go to this next topic, I just want to show you that his last post on Truth Social, which is where he is obviously primarily, he reposted Lee Zeldin's post of what I just shared on Tulsi Gabbard. Just like the Russia collusion hoax, the clowns show sham impeachment of President Trump in 2019 was a bullshit show trial of epic proportion to try to take out the duly elected president of the United States. My friends, we elected him. He won by an amazing margin over over Hillary Clinton. And they tried to take him out before he was elected, during the election, and after the election. So let's see if President Trump sent us any message with this timestamp. I have not done this dive. I'm going to do it live with you now. It was 7:04, which I'm going to take out the 0, and I'm going to go to 74. I'll go to 7:04 just to show you that rarely is it really connecting, but sometimes it does. So let me take you to all three. 7:04, E in brackets, kill brackets. Don't really know what that is, but we're taken to it from time to time. 74, Q equals Alice. You'll soon understand the meaning behind Alice and Wonderland. Everything has meaning. God bless. Okay. What's the significance here, Dave? Well, Alice is also Hillary Clinton. So there's two meanings for Q. Excuse me. Excuse me. Cheers. So Q equals Alice. Q is telling us that it's the Alice supercomputer in Saudi Arabia that they felt was safe, I think, to put there and have it operational because of the purge that happened before Q started posting. So remember, the purge happened with President Trump, with the Marines, with the National Guard. The National Guard is still in Saudi Arabia. And I believe that's where the supercomputer is, and that's why it's saying Alice and Wonderland. Okay. But also, Q has told us that Alice is Hillary. And the Wonderland connection was the bloody Wonderland of Saudi Arabia because they were supporting her through the Clinton Foundation. They were deeply embedded with the Muslim Brotherhood in our government. They had, but this was al-Walid primarily. And al-Walid also owned Twitter. So that was set up. That was not an accident, that was a total disinformation platform benefiting the Democrats and making the world think that it was 50-50, 50 Republican, 50 Democrat. It was not. There were bots. There were when Q brought Musk in to be the figurehead on that whole thing. Wow, what an eye-opening we got with the Twitter files and the involvement of the U.S. government in censoring and forcing these big tech platforms to terminate people like yours truly. So everything has meaning. God bless. Okay, so who set up the thing that President Trump is posting about here? Okay, but Obama, Hillary, because it was her that he beat, Schiff, Pelosi, these deep state actors, they were all there. They were all acting like it was the inauguration. They've already capitulated. They had a choice. Either you die now or you continue to live for another several years and play this role. That's a no-brainer. Or they did not, and they replaced them with doubles, masks, clones, whatever conspiracy you're down with, but just know that these people have capitulated. So this post, he takes us to 74, talking about Alice, and then also Think Mirror 47. You can paint the picture based solely on the questions asked. Be vigilant today and expect a major false flag. Like, for example, well, does anyone find it to be a coincidence there's always a terrorist attack when bad news breaks for the Democrats? Do you think that Tulsi's information that's being released today is bad news for the Democrats? Yeah. It's like the worst news for the Democrats. What is that called? False flag. Military relevant how? Barack Obama could not and would not allow the military to destroy ISIS. Why? How was ISIS formed? When? He created ISIS along with the CIA. How has POTUS made such progress in the short time he's been president? Alice in Wonderland. Do you think these two are related? Okay. Trump was able to knock them out because it was easy, because he tried. Obama didn't try. Okay, very, very telling. President Trump is absolutely sending us this message under the table, if you will. Okay. Now, let me take you again to this post yesterday that I showed you of President Trump seemingly healing a man. And where is that post? You've seen it. And come on now. Oh, and by the way, don't forget this post by President Trump, World's Most Powerful Reset. President DJT, World's Most Powerful Reset. What are we waiting for? We're waiting for the financial reset. This was what he posted about that man killing that woman, that Haitian man killing that woman. I blew past it because it was just yesterday. Bruce Springsteen, he's like, what happened to Bruce Springsteen? Getting all these, I guess all these dating apps are popping up. I don't know why they're coming after me. I've not shown much interest in that lately. Yeah, did he take it down? Let's go a little slower, but it was the post. And I think it was right before this. Trump on the moon. See, he's going to put his name on everything, even the building on the moon. His talk with the winner of that fight, all about Iran, and I'm missing. Oh, that's a great story about Ed McMahon. Did you know that he bought Ed McMahon's home when it was being foreclosed upon on him, and allowed Ed McMahon to live in his home until he died, rent free, and saved. He said somebody who has entertained the world as you have should not be worried about, being foreclosed upon. What a beautiful story. But anyway, I can't find it. I'm wondering if he took it down. If anybody can find it, please let me know if he took it down. But check this dude out, Patriot Dad, talking about this, and let's watch this together.
I know. I'm supposed to be outraged because the moral outrage crowd tells me that I'm supposed to be outraged. And yet I'm having a really hard time finding a reason to be outraged, because I learned a very long time ago that literally everything Donald Trump says and does in the public square is strategic. Everything, every post is strategic. Every time that he holds a press gaggle outside of Air Force One or outside the White House, literally.
And I'm gonna take you to one of those that's gonna blow your mind too.
Literally every word that he uses is meant to be strategic. Everything is strategic. So when he posts things that seem like maybe they're going over the line, I learned a long time ago, instead of being outraged, the question I should probably ask is, what exactly is he trying to get us to pay attention to? And the other problem is, I can't really figure out what I'm supposed to be upset about in this picture. Is it the American symbolism in the photograph? Is it the military veterans and active duty military? Is it the nurse that's with him? Is it the young lady praying along with Donald Trump as he lays hands on the sick? Is that what I'm supposed to be upset about? See, the problem is I've actually read my Bible, and I don't know if you know this or not, but we are all supposed to be laying hands on the sick. As a matter of fact, it says it right here in the Great Commission, verse 18. They will take up serpents, and if they drink anything deadly, it will by no means hurt them. And they will lay hands on the sick, and they will recover. Yes, that means me and you. And the President of the United States is also included in the Great Commission, where we're supposed to be laying hands on the sick, including a sick and broken nation. But Patriot Dad, don't you know that it's blasphemy to depict yourself as Jesus? Wait, you think that's supposed to be a depiction of Jesus? For the Monday Morning Armchair Bible Scholar Group, show me anywhere in Scripture where Jesus is depicted wearing a gleaming white robe and a red cape. Show me, because there's ample evidence of Jesus wearing a resurrected white robe. And in Revelations, there's also evidence of him reappearing wearing a blood-soaked robe. But nowhere in there is Jesus ever depicted wearing a white tunic and a red cape. But you know who is depicted like that? These people. That's right. These folks. The ones that Donald Trump was actively engaged in a back and forth on, because the Pope decided to insert himself into politics right after a meeting with Obama lackeys and came out. And
David Axelrod, who was Obama's, campaign chair and was deeply entrenched in the deep state, met with Pope Leo days before cardinals went on shows and bashed Trump, and Pope Leo came out against Trump.
Condemned our activities in Iran, which is really weird, because I went to look through the Pope's messages and I didn't seem to find a single instance of him condemning the Iranian regime for slaughtering up to 40,000 of their own citizens. I also can't find anywhere in recent comments of the current Pope condemning the slaughter of Christians in Nigeria. But these people wear white robes and red capes. Or maybe it's because I can just go back to the source of the original painting that was posted by Nick Adams back on February 4th, a painting in which he said, "America has been sick for a long time. President Trump is healing this nation." So do you remember back earlier when I said that I've learned how to wait to figure out where Donald Trump is taking this? And do you also remember a few weeks ago where I walked you through every single one of the agenda points of Agenda 47? And Donald Trump has already succeeded or is in the process of completing 19 out of all of the 20 agenda items. And do you know which one has not yet been started? National unity, healing a nation. Which is weird, because that's exactly what we are all called to do, to lay hands on the sick and they will be healed.
Beautiful post by Patriot Dad.
I know.
X by MK. I'm sorry, MJ Truth Ultra. And let me pull that up, and then I've got to pull up I've got to pull up something else for you here. Couple things here. Okay. So this, well, let me also pull this up. Excuse me. And I played this for you last night. And it was, I'm going to have to pull it up off of my feed, because I reshared this last night after I showed it to you. But it was Trump's little gaggle outside of the Oval Office. And it was very significant. And it is so significant that it seems to have disappeared from my... I'm struggling tonight, folks, pulling up stuff. Holy cow. I need to get my shit together. Is what I need to do here. Come on. What's going on here? I know I shared the damn thing. Maybe I did not. Okay. Well, let me pull it up on the White House. The White House will have it. Excuse me. Let's see. Here we go. Let me see. Yeah, here it is. Okay. This was after he received the DoorDash from the woman and pointed to the fact that she received an extra $11,000 because of his no tax on tips. But it was specifically, I don't want to show you the whole thing. It was specifically regarding Trump and the Trump's answer to that he looked like Jesus. And here it is. Okay. Sorry for that delay, my friends. Here we go. I'm back on track. Here we go.
Mr. President, did you post that picture of yourself depicted as Jesus Christ?
Well, it wasn't depicted. It was me. I did post it, and I thought it was me as a doctor, and had to do with Red Cross as a Red Cross worker there, which we support. And
Red Cross. I'll come back to that later.
Only the fake news could come up with that one. So I just heard about it, and I said, how did they come up with that? It's supposed to be me as a doctor making people better, and I do make people better. I make people a lot better. As an example, the 11,000, I understand your husband's going through treatment.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He's going through some very serious cancer treatment, so
yes, sir.
This goes a long way.
Yes, sir. It sure does.
Yeah.
That's a DoorDash grandma, and she got an extra 11,000 because of the no tax on tips and no tax on Social Security, and her husband's going through cancer treatment, and that extra 11,000 can go a long way. Well, let me take you to Snedheads here for a moment, my friends, and share Wes Gustafson's post. Trump is spoon feeding us with easy comms, gifts, and snacks. Yes, he is, Gus. 1249, April 23rd. That's 10 days away from being a Delta. Red Cross, Iran, Red Cross, Pakistan, Red Cross, North Korea, Red Cross, dot, 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 dot. That's 8 dots. Define smuggle. What is smuggled? What funds are used to pay for the goods? These people are sick. Relevant to events about to unfold. Follow the executive orders. Now, would the executive orders maybe pertain to the one I mentioned earlier, the 13818, that takes the assets from anybody found guilty of crimes against humanity? What is smuggled? Human beings are smuggled. Those we were told to trust the most, Q said, are the ones that will be exposed. Pakistan's in the news. North Korea, we know that they received uranium and money. Iran, we know they received uranium and money. Same with Pakistan. But also human trafficking and relevant to events about to unfold. There's a reason why President Trump said Red Cross. Okay, there's a Red Cross doctor there. Let's take a closer look. Does anybody see? I see a doctor there. Okay, could be a nurse. You know, it's a woman, so it could be a doctor or a nurse. But I don't see anything depicting Red Cross here. Do you? Military, a woman praying. This looks like he could be a veteran. The Statue of Liberty. Okay. Which, you know, is still a symbol of America for an artist to draw, but we know better. It is Lucifer. And these look like angels, but they look like fighter pilots in their gear. These two here, maybe three here. This might be an astronaut. But and they look like they've gone to heaven. This is an odd depiction of something I can't quite make out. And I kind of see a face here sideways, but that have maybe, you know, gone to fight for this country and, you know, gone on. We've got the bald eagles, the American flag, or fighter jets, or fireworks, which are, you know, very American for the, you know, Independence Day. Excuse me. But I don't see anything depicting Red Cross here. So why would President Trump say Red Cross, and why would it have the key elements to what's going on right now being depicted? Okay. And I want to take you to one of the other Red Cross posts, which was the repost of the April 23rd, also on April 23rd Delta. And when was Osama bin Laden killed in Pakistan? May 2nd, 2011. Where was Osama bin Laden located? Close proximity to, think logically. When did Awan's mission op go green? 2004. Follow the timeline. What happened during this time with Huma, Valerie Jarrett, Awan, +3. Okay. Huma was obviously the Muslim Brotherhood infiltration into Hillary Clinton's office. Valerie Jarrett was the Muslim Brotherhood infiltration into Barack Obama's office. The Awan brothers were the Muslim Brotherhood infiltration into our U.S. Democratic Congress through Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Foreign Affairs Armed Services, Pakistan Terrorism Accountability Act of 2012. Okay. Mr. Rohrabacher introduced the following bill to provide compensation for the deadly acts by elements of the Pakistani military and intelligence service against United States citizens. Okay. Pakistan, through the Inter-Services Intelligence Organization, maintains control and influence in Afghanistan through militant Islamic networks such as the Haqqani network in order to secure its strategic position and expand its sphere of influence, not only in Afghanistan, but also in Kashmir and against India. A 2011 report published by the Combating Terrorism Center at West Point states that during the 80s, the Pakistani state has long been a core sponsor and beneficiary of the Haqqani network. During the 1980s, Jalaluddin Haqqani quickly rose to be one of the ISI's most favorite field commanders, and the support he provided would have a significant impact upon Pakistan's security establishment and the jihad in Kashmir in the years to follow. Yet Pakistan's favored Afghan proxy is also the very same actor that has served as al-Qaeda's primary local enabler for over 2 decades. Given the ISI's historical sponsorship of the Haqqani network, it is highly unlikely that Pakistan has not been aware of this history. They've supported attacks on the U.S. Embassy in Kabul and NATO headquarters, September 12, 2011, attack on combat post Syedabad, Wardak Province, Afghanistan, September 10, 2011, Intercontinental Kabul on June 28, 2011, Kabul Bank, February 19, 2011, continued attacks on United States-funded road construction projects across Afghanistan. So all of these attacks, okay, basically they're telling us Pakistan has been, behind. Secretary of State, Pakistani Temporary Protected Status Act of 2011 to designate Pakistan under Section 244 of the Immigration Nationality Act to permit nationals of Pakistan to be eligible for temporary protected status under such section. Al Green sponsored this. Mr. Kane, okay? Mr. Outrage, right? Okay. And he put this in, introduced, okay, and it looked like it died. All right, but why was he trying to do this when Pakistan is clearly? I'm sorry, this is what I was at. Forgot to bring you with me. Yeah. And the summary, they're going to give me that. Yeah. Requires the Secretary of Homeland Security to give prior consent to such aliens for temporary trips abroad in emergency and extenuating circumstances. So it allowed people like the Awan brothers to come in. It did go through. And so that's, I think, what they're telling us. The Awan brothers came in. Who is protected? And we go to 60 years of U.S. aid to Pakistan, get the data as the U.S. announces it is to withhold military aid to Pakistan. Find out how much money America has given to the country since 1948. The Obama administration announced it will withhold more than 1/3 of all military assistance to Pakistan. An aid envelope worth some $800 million. The withheld aid includes funding for military equipment and reimbursements. U.S. aid to Pakistan has a long political history, and this is not the first time money has been withheld. So we were giving them 2.3 billion in 1962, 2010, 2.5 billion. I mean, we've given them a lot of money. And what did they do? They tried to infiltrate our government. Aid cut off in 2010. Coincidence? What happened in 2011? Define exchange. Sick yet? So basically, Q is telling us that they cut off the aid, but then they brought this bill forward to allow Pakistan nationals to come in, and not only come in, but come in and work for our government. Okay? Come in and work for our government. Another Red Cross drop. U.S. taxpayers are paying for it all. Paris Accord, scam, trillions. Red Cross, scam, billions. Q is telling us the Red Cross is a scam and has been telling us this since 2018, actually earlier, 2017. Red Cross, December 4th. Red Cross is corrupt and used as a piggy bank. Future topic. Diseases created by families in power, population control, and pharma billions. KB, I don't know what KB is. Think AIDS, future topic, relevant, fly, Rothschilds, fly. Okay. 3,000 plus saved by the raids in Saudi Arabia alone. This is talking about child trafficking. Worldwide lanes shut down, bottom to top. Haiti, Red Cross classified high priority. Coincidence? News unlocks the map. They're telling us that the Red Cross is trafficking children. That was 2017, December 23rd. December 4th, 2017. Red Cross is corrupt and used as a piggy bank. Again, same post reposted. Red Cross, red, North Korea, Hussein, Asia. Why was that stringer sent out? Decode, news unlocks map, future proves past. Where is the Red Cross? Runs deep, children pray. The red video by Hussein was to announce the assassination, to trigger the assassination attempt against President Trump when he was in Asia. Okay. So missing children. Q, where are the children? Seriously, where are the children? Love, T-Lin OKC. Red Cross, boom. Imagine that. Okay. And where did President Trump take us? He took us to these drops about Red Cross. Define smuggle. What is smuggled? Relevant to the events about to unfold. So why would President Trump take us on this day by mentioning, it was actually yesterday, by mentioning the Red Cross, which was not in that picture at all, that painting. There was a doctor. There was no Red Cross doctor. President Trump dropped the Red Cross comment and took us right into the drops on Red Cross. And we've always supported them, he said. Right? Ooh, doggy, folks. It's about to get heavy. Snedheads.com, my brother Pete. Snedheads.com. I think I had a snedshed.com up for a little bit. Yeah, think of all the vaxxed blood the Red Cross has collected. Right? Red, yes. Yeah. Wow. Old Yeller, do you think it has something to do with the blockade as all ships are being searched? I do. I do. That's a great question. It's going to shut down the worldwide lanes for such things, just like he shut down the drugs coming to the U.S. Tom Holman, yeah, a couple weeks ago, he said they found 140,000. Brilliant dig, Dave. Thanks for explaining. You're welcome, my brother. Yeah, it's about to get hot. Yeah. It's, yeah. Yeah, it's snedheads.com, my friends. Snedheads.com. There you go. And the show is up on there right now. Folks, if you dig this work, if you dig my digs, please support my digs. I don't think it gets any better than this. Listening for the comms, finding the comms, and one that I'm about to take you to that is, I think, very, very significant. And that is, and I'm going to bring that up here shortly. But if you know, some people would say, well, the next thing I'm going to show you, I got to go behind the paywall because, you know, this isn't for the common folk, or I can't put this out on any platform. So you got to pay to go see the next part. I've never done that. Never, ever, ever done that. But the reason people do that, just so you know, is because most people are too fucking lazy or too fucking cheap to donate when they're asked or when they're suggested to donate. And that's why people do that. But that's not the way forward. The way forward is for us to acknowledge the people that are bringing us gold and tip them more than they would a waiter at a decent restaurant. That's the way forward, my friends. It's the way forward, and it's that plain and simple. Or you could have, you know, 5 ads that you've had to sit through by now, but I, you know, respect your time more than that. Or you could be behind a paywall, but some of you can't afford a paywall. So it's up to the people who have the ability to help support the information for those who cannot. That is a good way to be. That is a good way to go forward, because there are people that are really, really hurting right now. And if you're really hurting, you know, I'm not talking to you. You know, if you're hurting, I don't want your money, but I do want the people who have the means to do so that the people that don't have the means to do so will not be left behind when it comes to needing to get very important information in a world where that information is not as available as it should be. It's that simple. And so if you want to support this work, thank you. And please do so. And if you are struggling, do not feel badly about not being able to toss a few dollars my way. Because I don't want you to. Because this is for those who need it. So let me tell you another drop that I did that is very, very tasty. But before I do, let me do one more thing here. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, and I thought so. Okay. Okay, so let me take you to this. My friends, it's amazing how President Trump is talking to us. This True Social post. Iran's Navy. This was today, this morning, 10:23 a.m. Eastern Time. Iran's Navy is laying at the bottom of the sea, completely obliterated 158 ships. What we have not hit are their small number of what they call fast attack ships, because we did not consider them much of a threat. Warning, if any of these ships come anywhere close to our blockade, they will be immediately eliminated using the same system of kill that we use against the drug dealers on boats at sea. It is quick and brutal. P.S. 98.2% of drugs coming into the U.S. by ocean or sea have stopped. Thank you for your attention in this matter, President DJT. Capitalized Navy, capitalized blockade, eliminated. Sea is not normally capitalized. Drugs is not capitalized. Ocean isn't. Sea isn't. Stopped isn't. Okay. And it's not president all caps. It's president low caps, DJT. So that tells me he's trying to tell us something. So when you find out that there are 44 capital letters in this, and you go to Q drop 44, you come to November 2nd, 2017, before POTUS departs on Friday, he will be sending an important message via Twitter. God bless. I'll take you to his last message on Twitter, but certainly we'll look to this Friday, possibly. Okay. The timestamp of this was 10:23. So we go to 1:23. We drop the 0, November 6, 2017. Nothing is random. Everything has meaning. Plus, plus, plus. Now, plus, plus, plus is Saudi Arabia, which we've been to twice now. Okay. And Saudi Arabia stepped up and they are pumping oil across their pipeline, 7 million barrels per day, along with the U.S. supplying all the ships of the world. So we have completely taken the power away from Iran and the money away from Iran that they were getting from every vessel. They were getting Bitcoin to the tune of $2 million a ship for every ship coming through there. That's a lot of money. Think Mirror 321, which is like a countdown. Okay. Post 134 U.S. military POTUS 137 U.S. military. U.S. military. Everything, the only way forward is the military, right? I also want to do 158 and 134 and 137, which were just told to us, and 158. Why 158? Because President Trump said 158 ships in this post. Okay. 158 also takes us to 157 because it's a continuation of 157. Where's 157? Oh, I got to put up 157. And by the way, we were just here. We were just here last week at 157, 158. What is a key? What is it used for? And he sent us here with a timestamp or no, I think it was a capital letter count from last week. Who unlocked the door of all doors? What is it? What is pre-planned? Do you believe in coincidence? What is information? Who controls the release of information? Who has all the information? Who disseminates information? What is the MSM? Who controls the MSM? Who really controls the MSM? Why are we made to believe they are the only credible news sources? They ask again, they ask again, they ask again. Why is this relevant? What was I just talking about in the monologue tonight? People are completely indoctrinated by the MSM. Why are non-MSM platforms cast as conspiracy or non-credible? What happens when an entity or individual accumulates power? Define corruption. Wealth equals power. Power equals influence. Influence equals control. Rinse and repeat. What power of influence was recently discovered specifically regarding the 2016 election? What just came out today by Tulsi Gabbard about the 2016 election and how they tried to reverse it by impeaching President Trump. How much power of influence does Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, etc. have in influencing the minds of people? Has the stranglehold of the MSM been diminished? Yes. What is open source? What has become blatantly obvious since the election of POTUS? Why would they allow this visibility to occur? Were they not prepared to counter what miscalculation occurred? What opposite impact did this generate? How did POTUS recognize and invert what happens when an entity and or individual accumulates power? Define corruption, define censorship, define controlled censorship. What action is Twitter taking effective mid-December? What is the purpose of this action? Possible test to understand public government response. Well, they threw all the anons off Twitter in December because of Chrissy Teigen. Everyone was calling her out to be a pedophile in her own words. But 2020 is when a lot of you found me in the spring of 2020 because they locked us down and sent us home and everybody went online to find out why we were putting up with this bullshit. 158, when was this announced? When did events in Saudi Arabia transpire? It was right before Q started dropping. Who controlled a large portion of Twitter stock? Lead, I was talking about earlier tonight. Why is this relevant? To define oppression. Who controls the narrative? Who really controls the narrative? Who guards the narrative? That's the CIA, and that's being exposed. Does the MSM shelter and protect select party members? Does the protection insulate these party members? Yes. Who controls the narrative? What laws were put in place to protect the MSM from lawsuits? Who specifically passed this law? Barack Obama said that the media can lie to us. What is immunity? What it prevents a news organization? I'm sorry, you were not with me on that. My apologies. My apologies, my friends. This was 157 here. This is 158. What prevents a news organization from simply making up sources and stories? What previous Supreme Court ruling provided protection to reporters from having to reveal the confidential sources? How many people are unaware of the truth due to the stranglehold? How must people be made aware of an alternate reality? What are crumbs? Think Hollywood, DC. Define lead-in. Think play. What has been occurring recently? The stage must be set. Q is telling us we are in a play. We're setting the stage for this to. Crumbs are easy to swallow. What if Hugh Hefner was a clown in America? What is a honeypot? Define blackmail. How could this be applied? Fantasyland. Who has all the information? No such agency, NSA. The hunter becomes the hunted. Operations underway, operators active, disinformation is real, disinformation is necessary. Silent war, some gets out. We've seen the leakers, the Great Awakening, Iron Eagle, Godfather 3. Godfather 3, on the day that he's going back and forth with Pope Leo and the Cardinals, okay? The hunt for Red October. With the war with Russia, not doing anything about Iran. China's not doing anything about Iran because they are working with Trump. 137, the central banks. We've been taken to that several times. And again, why were the events in Saudi Arabia extraordinary? Who was arrested? Al-Walid. Okay. Now, these are two separate dives. The 321 took us to 134 and 137. Okay. That was from his timestamp on the 44 capital letters. And hold on. Same post. Same post, because the 158, the 123, 321, and the capital letter count was 44 on this particular dive. So it is the same, but even more significant because it's all saying the same thing. Now we're at 134. Who was arrested? Al-Walid. We were just talking about that. Nothing is random. Everything has meaning. 3 pluses is Saudi Arabia. What will bank records provide? Where the money went? List names, family history, investment, ownership stakes, and point-to-point contacts. Example, Al-Walid Huma, Barack Obama, Citigroup, U.S. control. Why is this relevant? House of Saud, U.S. control. Follow the money. What power shift recently occurred? Was a new king appointed? Bin Salman. Trump saved his life in Las Vegas. Coincidence? Dark to light. Why is this relevant? One side of the triangle removed. First time in history. That was the House of Saud. Other sides falling. House of Saud, Rothschilds, Soros. Rothschilds, what's happening to the Federal Reserve and too late Powell? What's happening? Why is President Trump putting his signature on the currency? Why are they doing what they're doing with crypto? Why are they totally dismantling the central banks around the world, like they've just done with the City of London? That is Rothschilds. What's happening in Iran is taking out the Rothschild control of this earth. They had a tremendous control of everything that went through the Strait of Hormuz, including human trafficking. What did Trump declare a terrorist organization last week? George Soros's Antifa. Okay. What's happening to the NGOs? What's happening to USAID? All of the money scams, all the fraud in Minnesota, in California, around the country. That's all Soros. Boom. That's where President Trump has taken us today. Yeah. 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 And I love you, Cynthia, but if you don't have it, you know I don't want it, darling. Georgie, I've been following you, Dave, from the very first day, as you know, and Q is the only way. Yes, my friend. Yes. Yeah, Pete, thanks for the heads up. Sorry, I didn't have you with me there, my friends. Substack, pay for play per episode. No thanks. Yeah, it's the only way forward, my friends. This is too important. This shit is too important to be all about the money. But man, see, the thing is, $20 here, 25, 50, 100, 5, 10 from you guys, from hundreds of you guys, takes care of my world so that I can take care of this world, this community. And it has not been happening. And it were not for a few very special people, my friends, this would not be an ongoing possibility. Cynthia, Dave, I found you in 2019. I'm so grateful that you give without expecting. I am widow on Social Security, and I'm so thankful for those that have the means to donate so that I can get information. God bless you, Cynthia. And yes, I do this for free for beautiful people like yourself. The Red Cross is compromised without question. And they have a Red Cross logo, right, Bo Hunter? Right? Like there would be a Red Cross logo if that was a Red Cross doctor, right? Thank you, Edward. Zelle is 100% of your contribution. I get a good amount through the Stripe link as well. So that's a possibility as well. But then I get a little bit taken out because of the credit card, and then a little bit taken out when I have to move it over as quickly as I do, because I can't wait for it to a couple days for it. But thank you, Edward. Yes. And that is, that's the truth. That is the truth. And that's where it happens. Nobody really uses Give, Send, Go anymore. Other than Tom from Texas. Always grateful to Tom from Texas. Who says, Dave, I don't know how you have the energy to keep on going through all this, but thank you for doing so. And you're welcome, Tom. And Kathy Drexler, thank you, my dear. And thanks for all your lovely posts on snedheads.com. Thank you for your $10 donation. Janet Butler, thank you for your $10. And Karen Billick, thank you for your $10. And then I believe, let me see, on my Stripe, and I want to thank no, I have not. Okay, this is Gay Ridnour. Thank you for your $25 donation. Wes, Gus, thank you for your $47 for POTUS, my man. I appreciate you greatly. Daisy's mom, Mindy Spiridon, thank you, Mindy. God love you. And let me see. We got it looks like Sabrina Gear is trying. She got the dollar through. This is one that's failed. I get some failed attempts. Ernest Engel, thank you, my friend, for your $20 donation. And Elaine Steiger, thank you. And Steve for your $50 donation. I love you. I appreciate you so much. Thank you very much for that. And yeah, my friends, keeping the lights on as best I can, and your assistance in doing so is greatly appreciated. I mean, you know, so much happening, and yet, you know, so much to talk about. The guy who is who just knocked off Orban, by the way, is not. I'm digging into him a little bit, and I do not like what I see. I did a short search on him on Grok last night, and he's got some scandals, and supposedly he is a wife beater, and his wife divorced him for that very thing. And then also, so that's very, very telling. And I'm going to play Harry the Soul Coach. I'm going to play him for you. He kind of went off the rails, and I called him out. I think he blocked me or something, but he had a decent take on this. It's probably one of the few things that I've listened to of his, but it's let's give it a listen.
The UK now admits it's preparing a major plan to ready the whole country for a major global war. Everyone from the military and the police to hospitals and the industry has to be ready for the transition to war. And straight away, it's like they're preparing. We're being shown what was already planned out by people. The UK now admits it's preparing a major plan to ready the whole country for a major global war. Everyone from the military and the police to hospitals and the industry has to be ready for the transition to war. And straight away, it's like they're preparing for war. We're being shown what was already planned out by people, but there will be no war. They're getting ahead of the narrative. And look how this all ties together to a really important topic. Watch the water. So listen to Sir Richard Knighton here.
Transition to conflict, transition to war, as it's described. NATO describes it, transition to conflict, as a military component to it. It also has a civilian component to it. The SDR talked about how we protect our critical national infrastructure, and we also talk about how we need to build that resilience into the systems as we renew them.
And listen what he says this bit.
I talked before Christmas of the need that when we think about renewing our water infrastructure or our electricity or our transport infrastructure, to think about the threat of action from an adversary that is above the threshold of war. It's not just a hybrid threat.
The water infrastructure. And this is where it gets really interesting. We're not going to war, but it's the word water which has been used all day throughout the whole internet. Go on Google, type in water and just press news and you will see all of it. And the first thing it takes us to is Iran. Iran-linked hackers are sabotaging US energy and water infrastructure. Then if you look at all the news articles, all within the last few weeks, they've been talking about Iran's cyber hacks and the water systems throughout that. And there's more posts today. First, they went after MedTech, then Kash Patel. Iranian hackers' next target is likely low-hanging fruit in water, energy, and tourism, experts say. And it says Iran is trying to turn off America's water. Well, look how this is all now tying together. Donald Trump also puts out a post today. The Iranians don't seem to realize they have no cards other than a sure extortion of the world by using international waterways. The only reason they are alive today is to negotiate. So let's go to the Q post, because I feel this is showing us something sinister that was planned a very long time ago. It says water. Why is this event big? What does it signify? Why is North Korea out of the news? Look, as the world turns, and it says, watch the water. And it's Alex Jones now we're seeing is one of the original gatekeepers. And there's another post. Look, there is a lot more to this than you realize. Think collective attacks versus Q. Look, they attack Alex Jones to give him fake credibility amongst Trump supporting patriots, thus poisoning the water and directing the narrative of the opposition through a Mossad supported asset, aka Alex Jones. All team effort, coordinated collective attacks with pawns and actors serving black hat agenda and attempting to control and divide patriots. That attacks will come from all sides. And you can see from Donald Trump's post yesterday, all these gatekeepers are now following the same message as Alex Jones. And it's Alex Jones that told us about the water a long time ago.
Look it up for yourself. I mean, this is what what do you think tap water is? It's a gay bomb, baby. I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay. Do you understand that? Serious crap. I'm sick of being social engineered. It's not funny.
They turn the frogs gay, putting chemicals in the water. This is going to be something even bigger. And I'm pretty convinced it's all linking back to the water, a sinister plan that was already put in place. And then there's another post. It says, who knows where the bodies are buried? The ones who put the bodies there. Look, black water was used in a shinton of a shady ops by the US government back when it was under Kabul control and as a proper...
That's a shit ton. Blackwater was used in a shit ton of shady ops.
PMC, they've got it all on the books which now Trump has access to. And it says expand further. And it says it's important to understand when this breaks, many won't swallow the water. But if you look at the water news articles today, they're all over. Look, Grand Canyon National Park to implement additional water conservation measures beginning April 11th, which is tomorrow. And then there's so many articles a day from all around America. Look, could Florida actually run out of water? Grand Valley water officials brace public ahead of dry summer. A town in Arizona could run out of water in just 3 months. Here's why. City leaders in Brighton enforcing water restrictions amid ongoing Colorado drought. And on the same day, look, a state emergency, rising water levels at Sheboygan Dam prompt state emergency observation center activation. City of Toledo to build 4 new water towers pump station. New EPA initiative targets struggling rural drinking water systems. Officials say a streamlined approach to technical support could improve compliance and protect the public health. And this is all today. Look, a Mohara Fire Department responds to carbon dioxide leak at mud water treatment plant. So what are the chances of that? The UK are now preparing for a transition war and mention water infrastructures. Iran is trying to turn off America's water through the hackers. Donald Trump mentions Iranian, and the only thing that they got now extortion is the water highways. And then if you watch the water, it brings back Alex Jones, who's told us about they turn the frogs gay by putting chemicals in there. And then if you just do a search on Google, there's so many different articles all around the world, all talking about water.
So this was my Watch the Water. This was Spiritual Street Fighters, beautiful graphic of Q Plus and Watch the Water. And it's obviously been on our minds because of the Strait of Hormuz and all the ships and all the trafficking, all the smuggling, the drug boats coming out of Venezuela that intelligent people are still saying they were fishing boats with 2 massive outboard engines that if you use them, you couldn't catch any fish because of the sheer power noise of these outboard engines. You know, it's absolutely insane. There are no fishing boats in the world that have outboard engines that'll make your boat go, 60 miles an hour on the water. So President Trump also posted the following. For those people that still read the failing New York Times, and despite the fact that Iran has been totally obliterated, militarily and otherwise, you would think that Iran is actually winning, or at the very least doing quite well. This is what people have been saying, that he screwed up because they shut down the Strait of Hormuz. Our gas prices are more, et cetera, et cetera. Our gas prices are still below what they were under Obama or Biden. Biden. And we're at war with one of the biggest oil suppliers in the world. Yeah. So what was their excuse? So, you would think that Iran is actually winning, or at the very least doing quite well, but that's not true. And the New York Times knows that it's fake news. When does this corrupt media outlet apologize for their lies and horrible actions against me, my supporters, that's you and I, and our country itself? Have they no shame? Have they no sense of decency? President Donald J. Trump. Now, again, his signatures matter. The previous one, president, was capitalized, and it was DJT. This one, president was not capitalized, but DJT was capitalized. Donald J. Trump, he spells it out. This is telling me to look at the capital letter count, and oh no, that's something else, but I'll take you to the capital letter count, which is 94. And Anand says, if she's not, I think they're gunning for her. How can she repay the money sent to Clinton Foundation for influence? Do they have Huma? This is obviously referring to Hillary, which, by the way, Dershowitz, I don't know why people are still talking to Dershowitz, but Dershowitz has said that he could have that impeachment expunged from the record because of the illegality of the whole thing. Q says, review my other threads. This is why complete graphics are so important. Graphics, of course, are the pictures of all the drops combined. Barack Obama paid the debt prior to leaving office. That was Hillary Clinton's debt to Saudi Arabia and the Muslim Brotherhood. Bill wants a deal, meaning Bill Clinton, playing the former president card. Watch the cookie quickly crumble. Where does Soros fit in? What did we see with that plus in the previous com? I went through all that. Godfather 3, literally on the day that Pope Leo and the Cardinals are getting backlash for coming out against President Trump and this war. Think mirror, which, watching the water, you also get a mirror on the water. Follow Senator Grassley. What is different effective this week? What do you notice? Why does Senator Grassley, one example, have a higher than normal amount of security detail? Why is Grassley and others held in a secure location? When did this start? What has been different this week? Uranium One, FBI informant. Now, one of the things about Iran and North Korea and Pakistan that he took us to with the Red Cross comment is that they were all recipients of Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama's Uranium One deal. Have secret sessions been underway? How could this be discovered? What must be reported even if filed under state secrets? It's a name recognized around the world. Alice in Wonderland. What's the name? Who did Uranium One? Who was the Secretary of State? Who was the president? Do you not see the orchestration taking place right now with the constant comms that we're seeing revolving around Barack Obama, Valerie Jarrett, Hillary Clinton, Huma Abedin, Prince Al-Walid, Saudi Arabia, the Bloody Wonderland, and what just came out about this fake impeachment that they took a very long way, by the way, to the point where they actually voted on it in Congress. This is significant, folks. This is very significant. Okay. And then the timestamp on this particular is 4:54. This takes us to December 23rd. Post 4:54. How can FBI Director Andrew McCabe, Deputy Director, the man in charge along with Leak and James Comey of the phony Hillary Clinton investigation, including her 33,000 illegally deleted emails, be given $700,000 for wife's campaign by Clinton puppets during investigation? And it shows a timestamp link of President Trump's post with the 7 minutes difference delta. Confirms Q posted about McCabe 7 minutes prior to Trump's first tweet about McCabe today. 5 minutes, missing 10 marker from the past, missing 15 marker from past. Time stamps have meaning. That's why we go to the timestamps. Since he mentioned the military, I'm going to go to 1654 because of the military timestamp, and that will be the last drop of the night. So we go to 1654. NSA deleted 685 million call records. Q, did that include HRC, McCabe, Stroke, Page, Rosenstein calls? Drain the NSA. You delete what you no longer need. You save what you do need. Q has said we have it all. This is all. Look at McCabe, Stroke, Page, Rosenstein. All the same people. Military timestamp, regular timestamp. They're very much related. So Q is saying you delete what you don't need. And that's what they did. Whoo, my friends. I believe Watch the Water has many meanings, Kevin. Great question. I do think that it means flood of information simply because Q has used drip, drip, drip many times regarding information. And we are, without question, getting quite a bit of that. By the way, Bo Hunter asks, I'm wondering why there's been no mention of Loretta Lynch. There have been comms to the tarmac meeting between Lynch and Clinton. Yeah. I've always wondered, Anna Deneen, if Watch the Water was a reference to remember the entire operation would be fluid to the end. That's very interesting. I've never thought of it that way. But I do think it's more significantly tied to the information and the actual events that take place on the water. But there, Q has multiple meanings, right? Grassley refuses to release the whistleblower names. He doesn't want any of them vetted by the FBI, literally bribed with Corvettes. Interesting. And I want to look up Grassley and see what we have. Let's see. Okay. Let me go to his X account. Take you with me here. GOP's working families tax cuts. Average tax refund is up 11% over last year. Thanks to no tax on tips and overtime, workers keep more of the hard-earned dollars with each paycheck as the taxman takes less. This means Americans have more money in their pockets to provide for their families. And President Trump just highlighted that with the DoorDash grandma. President Trump putting more money back in the pockets. So that could have been significant back then as well, as opposed to the information that is available to us today. Sorry. And Green-Eyed People says, I'm listening to you, Dave, and staring at Orion here in Nevada. Something big is coming. Well, my friends, the pyramids were aligned with Orion. And I think there's real significance there. Whatever happened to the Finger Lakes, thinking of the Hunter ties with that. And by the way, I just saw an article the other day that Hunter is out of the country, possibly trying to avoid investigation. Okay, my friends. Dershowitz was on the island. He's as dirty as the day is long. And Ennisland, we have friends who are in tears and celebrating the liberation of their home country, Persia. They are throwing parties, dancing, and celebrating, and so grateful to DJT. This is what the mainstream media isn't even covering, how the people of Iran feel about President Trump. Vegas had a 5.5 earthquake. Interesting. Fishing boats need fishing gear to fish. Right? No question. LOL. Wait, Dave, bass boats can do 80 in there for fishing. Yeah, exactly. Massive typhoon fixing to wipe out Guam right now too. Interesting. The northern lower of Michigan is all flooded with all the rain and snow melt getting pounded tonight and the next few nights with rain. Spiritual Street Fighter does some great work. Please give her a follow on both on X and on Truth Social. And watch the water. California was out of water for the fires, and I believe Hawaii was as well. And then President Trump showed the homeless woman bathing in downtown Los Angeles using a fire hydrant. And he said, I guess the fire hydrants in LA are working now. As the world turns from us notorious for characters returning from the grave. Just saying, Junior, Kirk, et cetera, Anna Deneen, good call. I wasn't a what do you call it? Soap opera guy myself. I've never watched Alex Jones, couldn't listen to him. He would make me angry too, listening to him. 28 quakes in Nevada. Ireland, the fighting Irish, my friends, are taking back their country. Thank you, Dee. I appreciate you. You're a real gem as well. Interesting. U.S. military whistleblower Chelsea Manning arrested today at an Iran protest today in New York. Oh, by the way, New York is Mandami is showing his true colors because none of the things he ran on is he capable of doing. So he's being exposed in New York. That's a huge thing. All right, my friends, we're 20 minutes past the second hour, and And I appreciate you all for being here. What a time to be alive, my friends. And it's getting good. It's getting good. I will not be here on tomorrow night. And let me see. Wednesday, I've got to check that as well. I might come on 8:30 on Wednesday, but I've got to figure that out. Thank you, Quasi Pete, for holding down the fort for Moonbeam. Prayers up for Moonbeam that she makes it through these tornado watches. And thank you, Kevin. Appreciate you. And thank you, Nicolette Trey. And thanks for being here, everybody. I love you. I am so grateful for this space, this audience. I've been shadow banned on X, no question about it. Same with Rumble. That's why your thumbs up always help. Thank you, Whip and Spur. But at least I haven't been terminated from Rumble or X since I lost that account on Twitter under @Jack when I said that the 5G towers or the jabs are not to save us, but they are to allow the 5G towers to better communicate with our bodies. Yeah. Thank you all. Great to see you all. Interesting tidbit, the Trump post-Orthodox Resurrection Day. Interesting. Who is Trump resurrecting? Does he look for me? Does he look for me? Or does he look like me? What are you saying there? Thanks. Time for warriors, not warriors. Thanks for helping lead the fight, Dave. Very cool. Familiar, not for me. Familiar. Okay. Yeah, he doesn't look familiar to me in that post. Unless, maybe he's got a little, maybe he's got a little JFK Jr. look to him. What do you think, folks? I don't know. That would be something, wouldn't it? Gray hair, wrinkled, older. Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be something, my friends? All right. Be well. Good night. Yeah, I agree. Maybe light from the med beds. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. All right, my friends. Be well. I'll see you hopefully Wednesday, if not Thursday. Much love, my friends. Good night.